welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick, and my guest today is the President and CEO of the Peninsula Chamber of Commerce. It's Mike Kuhns. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, great. It's great to be here. Thank you, Robin.
It's great to have you. You know, I have to say the Chamber is one of those institutions that has been around for a very long time, but has been quiet in recent years. And since you've come on board, I bump into you a lot, and it seems to be that a rejuvenated kind of an organization.
Yes, we've sort of changed everything but the name in the last 3.5 to 4 years. The time was right. We redefined ourselves.
Well, so just back up a minute. Chambers formed for what reason? I mean, what is the traditional role of a chamber of commerce?
Well, it started back in the 1200s in Europe as just a part of the government where commerce came together. I suppose it was very similar like the guilds did, the trades guilds did. When it came to this country, the first chamber was in New York, and it was the King George Chamber. That was the last government chamber because obviously we had the Revolution and America became an independent state. So I believe the first private chamber was in Charleston, South Carolina, and then actually Norfolk was number 5 or 6. And of course, on the East Coast it grew, and they all became private membership organizations that really represented the interests of the local economy. And there's no hierarchy in chambers. In Virginia, there's over 130 chambers. Some are large, some are small. There's probably 10 large chambers, and the rest are small. But they're all are chambers within and governed by their own communities. And then obviously you have the state chamber, the Virginia State Chamber, but it's not related to any chamber. It's just a state organization. And then the U.S. Chamber. So everybody thinks there's this high.
And those are a little more political. I mean, those do a lot of lobbying, really.
The state chamber really represents the business interests at a public policy level, and then the U.S. chamber represents the broader national interests at a public policy level. There's really 4 types of chambers. I don't know if you want to know about them, but it'll help the viewers understand what we are and why we are what we are, and how that all fits in the environment. There are community development chambers, and that would be pretty much like an Isle of Wight, a Gloucester chamber. There's tourism chambers such as Williamsburg, and then the political action chambers like Fairfax County. And then that leaves the business development chambers, and a good example would be Richmond, Hampton Roads Chamber on the south side, and we are a business development chamber. And our sole mission is to connect business with opportunity. We are very focused. As we reemerged as a new organization, a newly retooled organization, because we go back to 1898 or something like that. And as we reemerge, we clearly defined ourselves that our purpose is to connect business with opportunity, and we really only do 4 things. We facilitate, we advocate, we communicate, and we educate. And as long as we stay focused on that, that's a huge effort because we are regional. We represent Hampton, we represent Newport News, Poquoson, Lower York County, and James City County, Lower James City County. So it's kind of cool. We transcend all geopolitical boundaries, but yet commerce spreads through that seamlessly.
Right.
So our job is really to facilitate relationships.
And networking is a part of that.
We do this a little differently. We have a typical business after hours, but we really have events where people can come and learn things and meet the leaders of the community, but at the same time, we use that as a means to create opportunities.
The networking is a little bit secondary. You're there for an expert or a discussion or a topic.
Yes, and then it's combined. We are a non-exclusive chamber, so we invite members and non-members, and some people say, well, that's a little different. Well, it is, but our members love it because about 40% to 42% of our attendees at our events, and last year we held 83 of them, 83 events, and 13,000 some people attended.
Wow.
But if you think about it, what a great way we're connecting people with non-members who then see the value and perhaps join and support the chamber. If not, they still partake, and our members get the benefit of new relationships. So that's a facilitation.
Right. You're bringing new people in. It's not the same business owners talking to each other and talking to the government.
And that's pretty stagnant, and our economy is not stagnant. We pride ourselves in the fact that we're a very nimble and flexible organization. We have a very small but efficient staff. We have 5 people on our staff, and we represent about 1,400 members and associates. So we deploy technology to make us more efficient. It's pretty tough, and I have a great staff. To do 83 events and 13,000 people,
that's quite a
that's
bit.
tough. And then we have many other programs, leadership programs. We have the Leadership Institute of the Virginia Peninsula.
So is that still, I did that I don't want to tell you how many years ago.
I was going to say.
But it was a great experience.
It is. It's revitalized.
I'm sure it's different now.
It's sort of focused, it focuses on today and what's happening in our economy and what's happening in our region. So we've expanded that to include a Youth Leadership Alliance. We've expanded that to include our Youth Career Expo, and that all falls under our leadership programs. We're trying to do our best to stop the brain drain. We want to keep these kids here. We want to let them know.
Oh my gosh, I could have you come back and we could just talk about that sometime.
And it's significant that the chamber engages because that's our emerging workforce. And we need to focus on the youth. We need to develop their leadership skills. We need to match them up with business mentors. We have wonderful businesses on the peninsula. Our business demographic is much different than, for example, the South Side. Our business demographic here is we're really a small business community, yet we're not perceived as having an entrepreneurial culture. We don't bring the entrepreneurial culture into the schools, and we are beginning to do that, both in Hampton. We're talking right now with the Council of PTAs in Hampton about talking about entrepreneurial familiarization and awareness maybe in the middle schools. Newport News, we're very much engaged with the virtual enterprise program that's in all Newport News high schools. In addition, we're developing a pilot program for youth leadership that parallels our adult leadership program. We're really focused on leadership. Really, the future of the community is on the leadership and leadership succession. And sometimes, perhaps, there are periods of times that we really didn't think about that as being really important. And so that's a major focus, and we're facilitating bringing these people together. We're not interested in empire building. We're really interested in taking all the great talents that we have in Hampton and putting those together to develop collaborative or programs that have collective impact so that we do have a great place to live, work, and play, and we become very competitive regionally. The other thing, we advocate on behalf of the free enterprise system. It's very key. You know, it's 46% dependent on government spending here in this region. That's a little scary, I got to tell you.
It's a tough, it's an unusual economy.
It is.
This region has fared well during a lot of downturns, but when the federal government contracts, we're in trouble.
And I think that, I hope this comes out correctly, but I think it kind of lends itself to perhaps some kind of an entitlement mentality. And that's not good for sustainability of a vibrant economy. So that's why we're trying to spend a lot of time letting people, keeping them in touch with what's happening with the federal government. It's going to get less and less. So that means we have to replace it. We have to diversify our economy, either through entrepreneurial ventures, attraction of new businesses, expansion of regular businesses. But we're business development. We're not economic development. We work hand in hand with the economic development organizations, the EDAs and the IDAs, but we really are about the individual business development. So we advocate on a free enterprise system. Probably one of the biggest advocacy roles is our public policy. We have a public policy committee and a group that lobbies on behalf of the peninsula. We use a different model. We have 13 of our local lobbyists who come together to work on behalf of the peninsula, and they may be from Verizon or Cox or Riverside or Centera. The reps from Hampton and Newport News, the government relation reps are on it. And so rather than having a single person in Richmond, we have 13 people in Richmond who now also have created a relationship amongst themselves, even though they may be in a competitive industry, and they promote us. We work closely in our advocacy role for the region and helping Delegate Gordon Helsel secure funding for the clear zone
that
properties.
That was a huge initiative, right, where the state's going to put up $3 million and the city's going to put up $3 million.
What a great effort. You had the legislator, Gordon did an outstanding job along with his colleagues in the General Assembly. You had the City of Hampton and Bruce Stirk working tirelessly in that particular program. We came along and got involved and purchased some grassroots advocacy software that made it easy for the community to communicate with the governor. And I think the first time in history that we've had almost 900 letters went to the governor.
E-letters, right?
Yes, expressing support. And that made a huge, huge difference. So it was really, that was facilitation, that was collaboration, but it was also advocacy. The other thing we do, we communicate a lot. What your efforts in Hampton are outstanding. I mean, you're always on top of things. We take that and we really forward that back out to our database if it warrants that, which generally it's really good stuff. And I think I commend the city of Hampton, particularly during the hurricane. The announcements came out and they really applied to the whole region. So we were able to send that out through our 6 social media outlets as well as our email lists and our VIP lists and all that. And so that was really a service to the entire region, even though you all focused on Hampton. So we like doing that. We think you guys are great.
Thank you. Look at the economy in the future and growing. You've got to solve that problem. And ultimately, it takes money. And I think taxpayers have been conditioned to want everything for nothing. They don't want tolls, they don't want taxes, but they want roads. So reaching a compromise and then getting to something that could move us forward.
That effort brought a lot of people together from the peninsula as well as the south side. Very different groups of people together, and we were able to host, there's a new group, informal group called Transportation Champions. So it's lobbyists, it's government relations reps, it's the 2 chambers. Actually, as well as economic development from Williamsburg, all worked together and coordinated. It was more buoying up our support for the delegates in their support of the House Bill 2313, as opposed to just going and talking about HB 2313. So that was good, and that continues on. That has continued on since the bill was passed, and it will continue on in the future. So that produced a collaboration at a level that I haven't seen since I've been here. And then we communicate a lot, on everything. Some people think it's too much, and if we cut back, some people think it's not enough. But we try to keep everybody informed and pass along information. And then we educate. And education takes the form of, might be small business courses, it might be executive leadership roundtables. We partner with Thomas Nelson Community College in a wonderful program this year that has been sold out every time. We brought Mike Petters in, president of Huntington Ingalls, for the first one, the inaugural one. We brought Johnny Lawson from WM Jordan in, and then the last session, and we do this kind of quarterly. The last session was General Mike Hostage, the commander of the Air Combat Command, and these are all frank, no press events, and it's really a wonderful experience for the community to be one-on-one with these leaders and be able to talk to them off the record about things. And the leaders have been totally candid, and that is just an example of our leadership. And then we do normal. We bring in commissions. Frequently, the governor's office will call and say, can you host a commission hearing? And we do that. We've had the Attorney General, the Lieutenant Governor, Senators Warner and Tim Kaine, oh gosh, Congressman Ridgel, we bring those in, and we do it not in, most of these are no charge events, and 75 people at a time in our facility. We keep it so it's up close and personal, and people really like it. So we continue to do that. And
well, so I'm sitting here at home watching this on cable and thinking, wow, I didn't know the Chamber did all of those things. How do I get more information? How do I get in touch with what you're doing?
The easiest thing to do is to go to our website, www.vpcc, Victor Paul, Charlie.org, or you can go to www.vapeninsulachamber.com. Either one will get you there. And we have a very interactive website. We do promote other events in the community. We are looking at other opportunities. We have an education foundation that we are reactivating. And education is really the key.
Education, workforce development, huge things
really
that
key.
affect your economy going forward.
So there are all kinds of opportunities to engage, and even just to be a part of some of the organizations that we collaborate with is a way to get engaged.
Right.
You
come in for one event and sort of test the waters.
We are a member.
Or you are also active on Twitter now, right?
Oh yeah.
So how do we find you on Twitter?
Well, we have two outlets on Twitter. One is VPCC Exec, and that generally tends so people know at our level what we're doing, and then VPCC.org, and that's a lot of the organizational things that we do. We're on LinkedIn, and we're on Facebook, and of course all the mass email, constant contacts. We just rolled out a new publication that comes out monthly. It's called Chamber Review, and it's intended to have about 2 or 3 articles that kind of just to get people to start thinking, what about early childhood development? Why is that important? And why should business or even the Chamber of Commerce care about it?
Why should you care about youth violence?
Exactly.
Those social issues tie into the economy.
Yeah, and we try to look at it, we're obviously not social engineers, but it really affects how we live, work, and play, and obviously everybody wants to make this the best place to live, work, and play.
Right, and if the business community can lend some sort of muscle or money or whatever sort of backing, mentorships.
Right.
Oh, I got the M's right there.
Mentorship's really good. We're into that, and we have a wonderful business community that we just need to marry them with the opportunity, and that's what we're working with, particularly in the schools, trying to engage the business community in the schools at the level what the schools need, not just what the businesses need, but really what do the schools need. And we're doing that quite well. There's all sorts of opportunities for engagement, and anybody can call and leave a message and be more than happy. We're very accessible, talk to them about new ideas. Nothing's off the table today. We just can't afford to stay on the same railroad track. We can't do it.
No, you can't. You have to constantly, change and reinvent and be ready for the way people connect today and the way people make money and
we do.
And all those
we
things.
do, and some of our challenge, that we're addressing, which is really going quite well, is chambers are run by a board of directors. I report to a board of directors and consequently the executive committee, and we have outstanding leadership, and that's all volunteer leadership. Small business, educators, CEOs, all coming together to set the tone and the vision of our organization, and we just have the opportunity to develop the strategy and tactics and implement what their wishes are. And so it is a community, it's a regional-based organization.
That's
and
great.
We're really excited about it.
Well, that's great. And we're excited to have you here and doing all these new changes. And we could probably sit here and talk all day, but I think we need to wrap up. So I hope you've learned about the Regional Peninsula Chamber of Commerce. And if you want more information, you can go to their website, or you'll see Mike out at any number of events. And thank you for watching.